The best fights of the week. Tuesday, May 27th. Ranked as WBC and WBO number 12 in the lightweight division, Japanese Shuotsuki will try to continue climbing the ranks and preparing for bigger challenges by fighting for a minor WBO title against Chinese Akadilieti Yelijin, a much more dangerous boxer than it might seem. Yelijin scored a TKO victory in Japan in 2023, lost with controversy in the Philippines to the skilled Albert Pagura in 2024, and is coming off a knockout victory over former world title challenger Genesis Servania last February, also on the road. Wednesday, May 28th. Moving on to Wednesday, a card from Japan will feature two World Championship fights. In one of them, the vacant IBF super featherweight title will be contested by Mexican puncher Eduardo Núñez and the lanky Japanese southpaw Masanori Rikishi, in what looks like a very interesting fight. In the other World Championship bout, WBO bantamweight titleholder Yashiki Takei will defend his belt for the second time in his reign against an undefeated fighter with an extensive amateur career, but without quality professional experience, as Tai Yutapong Tongdi. This event will be broadcast on DAZN. Also on Wednesday, in Thailand, former minimum weight champion Thaminon Nyamtrom will face undefeated, young Filipino southpaw Roland Toyagon. Friday, May 30th. On Friday, DAZN will air a matchroom boxing evening from Mexico headlined by the rematch between Manuel Gallegos and Khalil Ko. In the first meeting between these two light heavyweights, which took place last November, Gallegos won by 9th round TKO, but, despite this, he is the underdog in the betting odds. On the undercard, former unified super bantamweight champion Murajan Akhmadaliyev will continue waiting for a fight against Naoya Inoue, facing a stay-busy bout against Luis Castillo, who hasn't boxed for over a year and a half. Also broadcast on DAZN, from the United States, undefeated super middleweight Darius Fulgham will face a WBA eliminator, and his first big test, against Bektemir Melikhaziv, who years ago tested positive for doping. In the co-feature bout, undefeated middleweight Eric Priest will face an opponent much more experienced than him in Luis Arias. Also on Friday, in Italy, Charlemagne Medanyekpan and Armando Casamonica will clash in an interesting super lightweight fight. Saturday, May 31st. For many, the most distinguished name entering the ring this week will be American Caleb Plant, former super middleweight world champion who, after his losses to Canelo and Benavidez, is looking for another clash against a renowned opponent, though not necessarily in top form. In fact, the plan is for this PBC and Amazon Prime event to allow comparisons between Plant and his likely next opponent, former champion Jermall Charlo, a well-known and undefeated fighter who is in a very bad personal situation. Be that as it may, before a possible Plant-Charlo matchup, they will face Jose Resendez and Thomas Lamana, respectively, opponents who are theoretically far below their level if they are well prepared and against whom they are very clear favorites. On the same card, two-time world gold medalist Yonli Hernandez, from Cuba, will face his first demanding test as a professional against the seasoned incompetent American Kyron Davis, while undefeated Mexican super welterweight Isaac Lucero will face his unbeaten compatriot Luis Valenzuela, who has faced low-level opposition so far. Closing off, it's worth mentioning that in China, super bantamweight Zhong Lu will attempt to gain a spot in the WBO rankings by fighting undefeated Filipino southpaw Gabriel Santissima for a minor title. In Mexico, broadcast on TV Azteca, super featherweight Angel Daniel Garcia will be the clear favorite to defeat his compatriot Edwin Davila. Thanks for watching. More info on our website.